Hi. So for question 7, we're told in a triangle ABC, side AB has length 10 centimeters, side AC has length 5 centimeters, and angle BAC equals theta, where theta is measured in degrees. The area of the triangle ABC is 15 centimeters squared. And for part A, we've been asked to find the two possible values of cos theta. Okay, so for this question, like many others, I would really highly recommend you to draw a nice big schematic. Okay, so I've just drawn triangle ABC, and as you can see, AB has length 10 centimeters and AC has length of 5 centimeters. Okay, and I've got the angle BAC as theta. Okay, so we've been told the area of the triangle ABC is 15 centimeters. Okay, so what should be coming to mind right about now is the formula for the area of a triangle. Okay, so we can express the area of a triangle as half AB sine C. Okay, so as to not confuse anybody with the notations of A, B and C in this formula and A, B and C on my triangle, I'm just going to say this formula slightly differently. Okay, so I'm going to say the area of any triangle can be expressed as half times by the product of two sides times by sine of the angle contained within those two sides. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat that once more. The angle of any triangle can be expressed as half multiplied by the product of two of the sides multiplied by sine of the angle contained within those two sides. Okay, so that's a more generalized version of the formula, just expressed in words. Okay, so we don't get confused with any notation with A, B and C because we don't want any of that. Okay, so I'm just going to write out the formula again. A equals a half times by the product of two of the sides times by sine of the angle within those sides, and I can substitute my values into the formula. I know that area is therefore 15 equals to a half multiplied by 10 multiplied by 5 multiplied by sine of my angle, which is theta. Okay, so essentially what I'm going to be doing here is rearranging for sine theta, then finding a relationship between sine theta and cos theta so I can obtain two possible values for cos theta. Okay, so what I can do now is I can therefore say that 15 is equal to a half multiplied by 10 is 5 multiplied by 5 is 25 sine theta. Okay, so dividing both sides of this equation by 25, I can therefore say that 15 over 25 is equal to sine theta. Okay, so I can now cancel down this fraction. 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 25 5 times. Okay, so now I can therefore say sine theta is equal to 3 over 5. Okay, so I'm just going to call this equation 1. So we haven't finished yet. We've obtained sine theta, but what we want is cos theta. So, as I mentioned before, we're going to be trying to think of a relationship between sine theta and cos theta. Okay, and that's expressed in this identity here, very well-known identity. I'm just going to separate the page so we don't get confused with different sides of the working out. So, sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is identical to 1. Okay, if I write that down here, sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is identical to 1. Okay, so what I can do is I can rearrange for cos theta in this identity. Okay, so I could therefore say, by minusing sine squared theta from both sides, I can therefore say that cos squared theta is identical to 1 minus sine squared theta. Okay, so now by square rooting both sides, I can say that cos theta is identical to the square root of 1 minus sine squared theta. Okay, so this notation, you should be familiar with it. You may see it in your calculator. It just means that I'm square rooting everything within these two brackets. Okay, so it's equivalent of me square rooting the whole thing just like that. Okay, so what I can now do is I can call this identity 2. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be substituting 1 into 2. So we can find a value for cos theta. Okay, so I can therefore say cos theta is identical to plus or minus square root of 1 minus sine squared theta. And we know that sine theta is 3 over 5, so it's 1 minus 3 over 5 squared. Okay, so now I can therefore say that cos theta is identical to plus or minus 3 over 5 squared is 9 over 25, and 1 minus 9 over 25 is 16 over 25. So cos theta is identical to plus or minus the square root of 16 over 25. Okay, last step of the working out now. Cos theta is identical to plus or minus the square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of 25 is 5. 4 over 5. Okay, so we have our two values here. Cos theta is identical to plus 4 over 5 or minus 4 over 5. Okay, so that brings us to the end of part A. So if you're struggling with trigonometry or areas of triangles or identities, do check out a few of the links in the description below, which will forward you on to exam questions and work solutions and tutorials. And don't forget to leave a comment to let me know how I did, and let me know any content you want to see from me in the future. And don't forget to also like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll pick it up in part B.